Y'all ready to make those bones we talked about last time move? Now, that's basically what we're talking about when we talk about the muscles, particularly the skeletal muscles. That's their job, is they are trying to move the skeleton. Anyone want to guess where exactly they are trying to move the skeleton? Okay, but where do the bones move? Are they going to flex and move like in their middle bits? At the joints. Exactly. Which means our muscles are going to be related to joints. Okay. In order for a muscle to cause bones to move or to cause movement at a joint, that means the muscle has to span across the entire joint or multiple joints. Now, if a muscle spans multiple joints, like say we have our biceps brachii here, just as an example, this muscle touches here at my radial tuberosity. Okay. It originates here on my scapula. Well, that means we are spanning both the shoulder joint and the elbow joint, which means when this muscle shortens, it can actually cause movement at both the shoulder and at the elbow. Okay. Now, how are muscles going to work? Well, we of course know that one of the functions, because that's the one we just talked about. Okay, hold on. Let me move some of these Zoom buttons out of the way. All right. So that's our first goal with our skeletal muscles. Of course, we're trying to move stuff, right? Now, we're doing something else with many of our muscles, and that's very, very important as well. And that is maintaining our posture, making sure that we are able to pick a body position and hold it. Okay. Whether that's standing or sitting down or just any position, like even if I'm just going to stand here with my arm out to the side for no real reason, my muscles, their job is going to be to hold me in this position. Okay. Now, muscles are also very, very important for protection and support. These are big, fairly heavy structures that are in many cases going to be around structures, thus providing a little bit of protection. But also, we've got lots of important internal organs that we're kind of holding in place with a lot of our muscles as well. So if you think about your whole abdominal region right here, we have our rectus abdominis. So you think about your abs. We've also got our transverse abdominis here. We also have external and internal oblique muscles, all in this area. Their job is to hold all of that soft, squishy bits, so things like your large and small intestines and pelvic organs and all that, and hold them in place. We also have a whole set of muscles in our pelvic floor that their whole job is to maintain tension so that all of your digestive organs and all of your reproductive organs and things like that do not fall out of the body trunk. Okay, so that they stay inside the bones. Okay. So we have to have muscles that are going to help us do that, which means they're going to have to maintain some tension. Now, we also are going to be using muscles to help us eliminate waste. Okay, so I still have sunglasses on. We're going to be using muscles in things like our urethras and at our anus, where we're going to be using those to control the fluid or the movement of materials out of various orifices, as well as letting stuff into places like our mouth and our nose. Okay. Now, another one of these is huge. If you have ever done any sort of intense exercise at all, you know that your muscles produce heat. Okay. You'll notice if you've ever done some exercise, you tend to get fairly sweaty. But if you actually check your temp as you're doing, say, like running a 5K, you'll notice that your body temperature will raise. It will go up. You will give yourself a fever by doing intense exercise. Okay. So that's part of why you're starting to sweat when you do all that kind of stuff, is because your body's trying to cool itself down because of all the heat that you're generating with your muscles. Okay. Now, this is also very helpful, though. So here in a couple months, hopefully, it'll get at least somewhat cold outside. Cold enough that you'll maybe shiver a little bit if you walk out there in shorts. Okay. Now, the reason you're shivering is specifically because we are using our muscles to generate some heat. By making our muscles work more and work a little extra, they're going to generate a little extra heat. We can route some blood to those muscles that are moving, warm up that blood a little bit, and thus raise our body temp a little bit. Okay, so we can also use them to help us regulate or maintain our body temperature in different environments. Now, how do we do this? Well, we're going to do this with a couple of the fun bits with our muscle cells. Okay. So this first thing that we're going to talk about today is going to be muscle cells, and then we'll take a small break and then talk about some of the skeletal muscles. We'll introduce some of the skeletal muscles, give y'all some time to look at those, and then next time we'll come back and give you more time to look at them. Okay. Now, so skeletal tissue or skeletal muscle tissue is excitable. This means that we can send it a nerve impulse and hit it with a nerve impulse, and it will respond to that stimulus. Not all of our tissues are this way. Okay. For instance, the epithelial tissue in your epidermis is not this way. We do have excitable parts of our epidermis, but it's going to be the nerve endings that are in there. Okay. The actual epithelial tissue itself, those squamous cells, aren't going to respond. However, skeletal muscle is responsive. Okay. Now, it is also conductive. This part is very, very important because remember how I said that some of our largest cells are going to be our skeletal muscle cells? How I pointed out that what if you look at, say, a muscle like this? Say you look at a muscle cell like this or a muscle like this and you think, okay, this is just exaggerated in how long these muscles are. It's actually not exaggerated at all. If I were to line my leg up with that leg model, my leg is longer, which means my muscle cells would even be longer. Okay, but from red to red is going to be a single muscle cell. Now, this is thousands of them widthwise, okay? But lengthwise, it's in this case around a foot long. However, we've probably only got 1 or 2 nervous inputs down this entire length of this cell. But when this muscle contracts, we want the entire length of the muscle cell to contract. So we're going to do this by having the nerves hit a muscle cell and then have to have that signal get propagated down the entire length of the cell. Okay, so say we have a muscle cell here. And our nerve comes in here. Well, we need to get a signal down this entire cell in order for it to contract. So what we're going to see is we're going to see the electrical change happen down the entire length of the membrane. So we're going to see a change occur here, right at this spot where it intersects with the nerve. But the moment that happens, it's also going to cause that same change to move out towards the side. We call this an action potential. So we're going to take that electrical signal from one place and move it down the entire length of the entire muscle cell. Okay. This way, the entire muscle cell will shorten, not just this one spot that got the signal. Okay. So not only are we excitable, but we also are going to be able to conduct electricity down the entire length of the cell membrane. Now, we of course know that we are going to experience some amount of contractibility of our muscle cells or contractility. This means that the cells are going to contract. So if I were to take this same cell and it's at rest in this picture, but then we contract it, what we're going to see is that we're going to see the entire length of it shorten by a lot. Okay? This is what your muscles do whenever they do something. So say, like I tell you to flex your arm. What you're actually doing is you are shortening that muscle. It is going to take these cells, and when you send that signal, well, the muscle cells are going to shorten. When those muscle cells shorten, when they pull, so they pull with some force, that is what's going to cause the movement in the muscle, but also the movement of the bones. Okay? That's also one of the reasons why your muscles look better when they are flexed. Why? They look shorter. So they're getting shorter, so they're looking bigger. Okay? They're basically just going to look more plump now because you are shortening them. Okay? So they're taking up the same volume of space, just in a different kind of packaging. Okay? Now, your cells are also going to have these little, what we call striations running through them. These striations are basically stacks of some of our proteins. Now, these proteins are going to, or we're going to have some proteins that are vertical, and that's what we see as the striations, but we're going to have another set of proteins that is running horizontal. And those horizontal ones get pulled toward these little bands when our muscles shorten. So what we're going to see in a shortened muscle is that those striations get much closer together to the point where they basically just push themselves on top of one another as the muscle shortens. And that's actually one of the ways that we're going to be able to tell that a muscle is shortened under something like, say, a microscope. Now, importantly here, our muscles are also able to be stretched, okay? So if you are stretching, that is literally what you are doing, is you are making your muscle cells lengthen, okay? You're moving other muscles and moving your body parts, forcing the muscles of a particular joint or a particular set of muscles to get stretched, okay? So this same muscle at rest might be here, but under certain circumstances, you could force that muscle to be far longer, okay? And importantly, it will not injure it to do so, okay? It is simply able to be stretched, okay? The fibers in here are able to be pulled apart, and it's not going to actually damage the tissue and just break, okay? Some tissues will not let you stretch them. Hyaline cartilage, for instance, will not stretch that much before it just eventually breaks. Okay, not all of our tissues have this ability to let us stretch them. That's one of the fun things that muscle cells are going to do. However, that's also going to be part of what's going to allow us to make them do their jobs. Okay, now, finally, we also are going to be elastic. So say I take, hey, so say I take this rubber band. Well, we know that that this rubber band is extensible, right? Like I can stretch it. What happens after I stretch it though? It goes back to normal. The ability for us to take something that has been stretched and then it returns to its original length, this is called elasticity, okay? That is why we like things like rubber bands, because they have elasticity. They go back to their original shape. However, your muscles also do this. So after I stretch, say, in this case, my hamstrings, okay? After I've stretched my hamstrings and I relax, my hamstrings go back to normal. They just pop back into their resting state and they're still ready to go. Which means if, say, I'm stretching my hamstrings and somebody comes up behind me and scares me, my hamstrings are still able to shorten and still able to let me move, right? They're still able to do the other part of their job right then, okay? So we are excitable, we are conductive, we are contractible, thus doing work, we are extensible, so we can stretch them, and then finally, we can bounce back should we ever get stretched. This makes muscles really good at both moving our skeleton, but also really good at being in our hollow organs. Because I can eat a full, large pizza and a half and be okay. However, if I eat that, my stomach goes from being this big, which it currently is, to being this big. It has to stretch. But then, over time, as that stuff moves out of it, it's going to go back to normal and everything is fine, right? So its ability to kind of be elastic is going to be very important in places like that, where it might be put under a lot of strain and a lot of stretch, okay? Now, something else that we need to understand is that our muscles are going to have some levels of organization mixed throughout them, okay? So this is an individual muscle cell, okay? So an individual muscle cell would be this little guy right here. Notice that a single muscle cell is going to be filled with all of these muscle fibers, okay? Now, if we take this muscle cell is going to be wrapped in a layer. Oh, something just broke. Whoops, sorry, I'm fat. All right, so say we're going to take this muscle cell. It's going to be wrapped in its own layer of connective tissue. This little layer of connective tissue around each muscle cell, we're going to call endomysium. Endo meaning on the inside. MYS because this is the, I want to say this is the Greek root for muscle. And then EM basically tells us that it's a connective tissue. Okay, so endomysium, so this is a connective tissue on the inside of the muscle. So the innermost layer of connective tissue. Now, we're then going to take a whole bunch of these muscle cells and bundle them together. We're going to bundle them together in what we call a fascicle. Okay, so that's this little guy right here. So if this is a single muscle cell, we're going to take a bundle of these muscle cells and put them together into what we call a fascicle. Okay, that fascicle is going to get another layer of connective tissue. The layer of connective tissue here is kind of now in the middle region. So we're going to call this perimysium, P-E-R-I. Okay, so a bundle of cells is a fascicle, and that fascicle is wrapped in perimysium. Then we're going to take a bundle of those bundles. So we're going to take a whole bunch of these bundles and wrap them together into the actual belly of the muscle, or the fascia of the muscle, F-A-S-C-I-A. Okay, F-A-S-C-I-A, or the muscle fascia, or really just the muscle, or the muscle belly. Okay, and we're going to wrap that in what we call the epimysium. Epimysium, because now this is the outermost layer. Okay, endo meaning innermost, epi meaning outermost, right? So the epimysium is going to cover the outermost layer. Now, at the end of the muscle cells, something fun is going to happen. So say my muscle cell is right here. Well, my endomysium will actually continue going after the end of my cell. And we're going to be left with just some endomysium that was attached to my individual muscle cell. Okay? Well, it's still kind of the endomysium. But something fun will also happen, and that's that the endomysium of the other cells will all come together as well. And then it will also come together with the perimysium, and then finally the epimysium. When the endomysium, perimysium, and epimysium are all connected together, they're going to follow down and they're going to connect that muscle to bone. They are going to become the tendon. So the tendon of the muscle is going to contain the epimysium that covers the whole muscle belly. It's going to contain the perimysium that surrounds individual fascicles. And then it's going to contain the endomysium that connects to individual muscle fibers. So this means that something fun can happen. Namely, that if, say, we stretch some of those muscle fibers by, say, hitting them with a mallet in a particular position, you're going to stretch individual muscle cells or individual muscle bundles or bundles of muscle cells. And then they will sense that stretch and then have to equalize the pressure across the entire muscle. We can see this as a stretch reflex. If you've ever had your doctor hit your patella or like hit your patellar tendon with a mallet, that's what they're doing, is they're testing the stretch reflex. Okay, and that's something that we're going to do later on this semester. Or I guess we could even do it today if you want. We have all the stuff. But all that's literally happening is at the root, you are basically hitting the connective tissue attached to this muscle cell with a mallet. Well, if it's connected to this muscle, what's going to happen? If you stretch it here, what's also going to happen? It's going to stretch the muscle cells. And when that happens, it's going to send a signal out through the muscle that says, hey, I'm being stretched. So your spinal cord sends another reflex out, or sends a signal out to the rest of your muscles to equalize all of those pressures. All right, now when we break down one of these muscle cells, when we look a little bit closer, we're going to see lots of fun stuff that makes muscle cells look completely different than any other sets of cells. Now, if y'all looked at the tissue chapter and you actually looked at muscles in that one, you saw that skeletal muscle in particular not only has these striations, but it's also got multiple nuclei. Multiple nuclei because these cells are humongous, okay? A single muscle cell will weigh as much as several hundred epithelial tissue cells, okay? They are absolutely massive. However, they're also not truly a single cell. They didn't all come from one cell that just got bigger embryologically. Instead, we had a whole bunch of cells that were in a line that then fused together to form this sort of supercell, okay? Because this is embryologically not coming from a single cell, that's part of why you're going to see some special names associated with some of the structures inside these, okay? Namely, we have the outer layer here. Instead of calling this the plasma membrane, we're going to call this the sarcolemma, okay? So we now see another word root. MYS is one word root that means muscle. Another word root that's going to be muscle is sarco, okay? Actually, so I had it backwards. MYS is the Latin root. Sarco is going to be our Greek root. So sarco also tells us muscle. So if you see the word sarco, it means muscle. If you see the letters MYS, it means muscle, okay? But we have our sarcolemma, which is our plasma membrane here. but because it covers essentially what used to be a whole bunch of individual cells, but now it's just one, we're just going to use the term sarcolemma. We're also going to see this big network of blue tissue inside here. Okay. It's blue in the picture, not blue in reality. Okay. The blue that you see here running this big network, let me see if I can blow it up and make it a little bit bigger. Now that we know what we're looking at. That a little better? Oh yeah, it's a way better. So these little blue lines are in a network. So we're going to call this a reticulum. So we're going to call this the sarcoplasmic reticulum. Now, what these are going to be, these are basically going to be a place through which we can release calcium. Okay. Part of us getting this signal, or part of us contracting the muscle, so being able to go from this resting state to being in this contracted state, one of the main things that has to occur here is going to be the release of calcium inside the muscle cells. The reason that we need this electrical charge to go down the length of the cell is so that we can release calcium to all of these muscle fibers through this sarcoplasmic reticulum throughout the entire cell. Okay. Without calcium, your muscle cells cannot contract correctly. Okay. This is one of the reasons that calcium is so important. This is also one of the reasons that your body will scavenge calcium from places like bone in order to continue working. Okay. We need calcium in our muscles where our muscle cells do not work. So say we are not using that much calcium in our bones because we're old and we're being mostly sedentary. Our muscles still have to work to allow us to pick up our cup of coffee. So what happens? We eat our bones in order for our muscle cells to continue working. But like I said, we release it here from our sarcoplasmic reticulum. Now, these little green lines in the middle of all of our sarcoplasmic reticulum, we're going to call this our T-tubule. The T-tubule is important because this is where we're actually going to start that release of calcium. So we get an electrical signal from the nerve. That electrical signal is going to cause a change in charge on either side of the membrane of the muscle cell. When that happens, that is going to then send a signal into this green area, this T-tubule, at which point that signal will get propagated through the sarcoplasmic reticulum and calcium gets released from the sarcoplasmic reticulum. Okay. Now, what's actually happening, or what's going to happen then, is we're going to see our sarcomeres, so this is the contractile unit of the muscle cell. We're going to see these then shorten whenever this occurs. Now, if you look at this jagged line, notice it's on either side of these kind of dark regions over here. So what's going to happen is these jagged lines, we're going to see these as striations in our muscle cells. Okay, because this is basically a big stack of these really, really heavy proteins, really, really dense proteins so that we can see them. So we receive the signal from the nerve. We receive the signal from the nerve in the form of a neurotransmitter. Okay, that neurotransmitter causes us to change a charge here at the cell membrane. That signal then is going to propagate down here, and we're going to start changing. So here's our cell membrane, that's our sarcolemma. Okay, we're going to then start to cause a change using these voltage-gated channels in the sarcolemma, at which point we're going to cause a release of calcium from the sarcoplasmic reticulum. Okay, or the T-tubule and then the sarcoplasmic reticulum. Basically just follows. We're playing a game of follow the leader, follow the changing charge is essentially what it is. We change here at the plasma membrane, which means we're then going to cause a change here in our voltage-gated channels in the T-tubules. And thus see we have a voltage-gated calcium channel here. When we change the charge here at this voltage-gated channel, we're going to then cause calcium release throughout the entire sarcoplasmic reticulum down here. Okay, all because of some changes that happen up here at the plasma membrane or at the cell membrane. And all of that occurred because of the nerve or because you hit somebody with a bunch of a particular mineral. So this is what happens if you say, give them a bunch of salt. So like, oh, hey, here's a bunch of sodium right here at this one particular spot, and it will cause the muscle to contract. And basically the same way as if they receive the signal from the nerve. It's also why it's so dangerous to do things like that, particularly with potassium. Giving someone a big bolus of potassium into their blood is a great way to make them basically immediately die. because all of their nerve fibers and all of their muscle fibers will start doing things that are very, very weird. And they will run into major problems incredibly quickly. All right. So if you want to see what's happening in the actual molecules here, so we're going to zoom in a little further. So we're going to start looking at the individual myofilaments. Now we have two major myofilaments. We have actin, which is this kind of orange structure down here, and we have myosin up here. Now these myosin ones are going to make up kind of the thick bands. So these are going to be the dark regions, so much so that you can see them in a light microscope, at least the stacks of them as striations. But then we've got actin, which is going to be the ones that are going kind of side to side, okay? Now, actin, you'll notice, has a couple of other structures associated with it. Primarily, we've got troponin, and then we've got this structure here, which we're going to call tropomyosin, okay? Now, on actin, you're going to see these little divots. So let me just draw one of these so you can see it a little better. It's drawing it kind of like this, where we have this divot. This divot is our myosin binding site. Without myosin, so those little myosin heads, those myosin heads want to click right here onto actin, particularly at our myosin binding site. When they do that, the moment they bind, you're going to see a conformation change or a change in the shape of myosin. Namely, it will pull the myosin filaments closer to the striation line. Okay, so that's going to pull it towards the middle of our myosin molecule. Okay, so here's our myosin molecule. These over here are going to grab that actin and they're going to pull it this way. These over here are going to grab actin molecules that are over here and pull them this way. Imagine like a game of tug of war, okay, where they're basically just pulling towards one another. So this is how we shorten the muscle. Okay, we're going to pull things towards the middle of our stack of myosin. However, they cannot bind to that myosin binding site because of tropomyosin. Okay. So we've got troponin, which is this kind of green thing right here, this little green rope. That green rope is going to fill and cover all of these myosin binding sites. Okay, so by covering all these myosin binding sites, what do you think happens with the myosin heads as they're trying to hit it? Do they have access to this myosin binding site? No. Okay. Anyone want to guess what chemical we need to release it? Calcium. That is exactly it. Even if you had to look it up, that's totally fine. Yep. Perfect. Yep. So far, we've said that we need calcium multiple times. We need calcium in order for the nerve to fire itself. We need calcium in order to get, or we are releasing calcium from the sarcoplasmic reticulum. The reason we are releasing calcium from the sarcoplasmic reticulum is because it is going to bind right here onto my tropomyosin. Okay, so tropomyosin, troponin, it's going to bind right here at my tropomyosin. So whenever I bring in the calcium, whenever that calcium binds, it's going to cause a change in the shape of my troponin. It's going to move it out of the way. So now my troponin and my tropomyosin complex are over here because of a conformation change caused by calcium binding. Calcium binds tropomyosin, causing a conformation change in the tropomyosin and the troponin complex. So it moves it out of the way. Well, now we don't have anything in the way of my myosin binding site, right? Which means myosin is able to go, or is now going to be able to click into place. Myosin clicks into place, and now the muscle cell will shorten. The muscle will contract. Okay. So all of this can only occur if we have calcium. We do not have calcium, the muscle cannot contract. So the muscle cannot shorten. So we have to have calcium in order for the muscle cells to contract. Now, this is a whole lot less anatomy than it is physiology, but we do have some anatomy here, namely that we're naming structures, right? So actin, troponin, tropomyosin here. Or sorry, tropomyosin is our cable, troponin here is the blue stuff. I had it labeled backwards up here, I'm sorry. All right, so here we have kind of the bands. We have the Z discs, which are the squiggly ends. This is where our thin filaments are going to attach. And then we have the dark band right here, this thick filament, which is basically a stack of our myosin heads, or the stack of myosin filaments containing our myosin heads. So by having these thin filaments, though, interlaced with the thick filaments, those thick filaments will grab onto these actin molecules and they're going to pull. This side pulls this way. This side pulls this way, which means when we get contraction, we're going to see those Z discs, those kind of wavy lines. We're going to see those get pulled towards the center of our sarcomeres. So we're going to see our sarcomeres shorten because it's this big dense stack in the middle, our M line that's pulling everything toward it. Now, some fun things are also going to occur in our muscles, namely that we do not need an individual, we don't not need, want one particular nerve fiber. We're going to need one particular nerve fiber to talk to each individual muscle cell. If you imagine all of the muscle cells that we have in our body, this would be energetically incredibly expensive, as well as wasting a lot of bandwidth. Okay. So instead of doing that, what we're going to do is we're going to have one nerve fiber come in and it's going to split and talk to multiple muscle cells all at the same time. The muscle cells that a single nerve can talk to all at once, we're going to call a motor unit. Where do you think we're going to see larger motor units, where we're going to have one nerve cell talking to more muscle cells than, say, in another spot? Where do you think we're going to see the largest motor units? In this case, we're not going to want a whole lot of nuance. It's going to be, hey, shorten now, shorten powerfully. Your legs, okay? Things like your legs and in your back, but especially things like your legs and in your hips, we want these muscles to shorten, and we want them to shorten now, and we usually want them to shorten powerfully. Why? Because we are moving body weight, okay? Or more than body weight in a lot of cases, okay? So things like your legs are going to have very, very small, or sorry, very large motor units, where one nerve can tell a whole bunch of cells what to do all at once, okay? This also means, though, that you don't have a lot of nuance. It's hard to not, or like, it can be somewhat difficult to kick a ball soft enough, okay, to have a lot of control. Large motor units means we're going to lack a little bit of control. Places like our arms and our hands and our fingers, we're going to have really small motor units. Why? So that I can tell that joint to bend and only that joint to bend. That's very different than just extending my knee or extending my hip, okay? However, that also means that it's a lot easier for my brain to tell my legs to jump. Why? Because yes, I'm telling a lot of muscles what to do, but I don't need nearly as much mental power to be able to do that because I have really large motor units and it's easier to say, hey, contract, okay? So it's a little bit easier to jump than it is to do something like, say, play piano on your brain. Now, where our neurons meet our muscles, we're going to call this a neuromuscular junction. So here we have the neuron. The ends of our neurons, it has the tips of these little fingers called synaptic knobs. So they look like little ET fingers. Y'all know what ET is, right? Okay, sweet. Okay, eventually I will run out of my ability to use that movie as a reference, but I guess it's also one of those landmark movies, but still. I've actually never seen ET though, which is funny. I still know what ET looks like though, and who directed it. Steven Spielberg, for those of you that are curious. Eventually that's a name that's going to go away too. Either way, we have our synaptic knob. We have it touching the muscle. So we have our neuromuscular junction, and we're going to have this little cleft here, this little tiny space, and this is going to allow us to have distribution of molecules going out to hit as many receptors as we can possibly get so that we know we're going to get contraction. Also, something fun, inside our synaptic knob in our neurons, we have calcium pumps, so we still need calcium. We have yet another call for calcium. Have I convinced you yet that calcium is an important ion that you should consider in your diets? Okay, we need to make sure that we're getting our calcium. Either drink milk or eat a shitload of spinach. One of those two things, okay? Dark green vegetables are your friends. Going to be eating some in just a little bit, sadly, because that's what I brought for lunch. It's also got buffalo chicken with it, so it's fine. It's actually quite tasty. All you really need is like spicy brown mustard and some like hot sauce. That's really it. So you can do that and not have to add any like random stuff to it. It's truly just mustard, vinegar, and then hot sauce, which is also just pepper and vinegar. Still though. Vinegar's your friend. Acids are your friend in making foods taste good. If you want to make a food taste better, one of the first things that you can do to it is actually add some acid. That's part of what brightens things up and makes things just taste a little different and taste a little bit more fun. Add a little bit of acid. So a squeeze of lemon on salmon, blah, 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 blah. Do not squeeze lemon onto your steak or I will slap you though, because that is sacrilege. Okay. You can get out of this class. I have a buddy of mine that we were going out for a friend of mine's like bachelor party. And like we were all having dinner. Dude orders a $75 steak and has the audacity. He put steak sauce on this $75 steak that was cooked to medium rare. I'm like, what? Go to Whataburger, man. If that's what you're wanting, just go. Like, why? Just A1 tastes fine. Like I have no problem with A1, but you're buying a steak like that because it's supposed to taste the way it's supposed to taste, not to make it taste like A1. You could eat a boot and it would taste the same with A1 as that poor steak did. So sad. If you want to know like a great place to go get some steak, though, if you want like a fancy night out or something like that, there's a place in Dallas called Albernay's. You will pay for your steak. It's expensive. I think the last time I bought a $90 steak, but you know what? It was fan-frickin-tastic. The single best steak I've had in my life, which is saying something because I've eaten a lot of steak. I've actually killed a cow or like raised a cow, like knew it from, it was this big. I was the one that put the little band around its testes to turn it into a steer. Raised it, fed it, knew exactly what it ate its entire life, and then got to eat it later on. Done this on several occasions. And that food at Albernay's tasted better than any of those steaks that I've had here, including ones that I've raised. Granted, they dry age, which is not something I've been able to do personally, but it makes a big difference. That steak was super good. We've been there a few times. But quite tasty. All right. So we have some other events showing kind of skeletal muscle contraction here. Make sure you spend some time with this. This is definitely physiological concepts, but spend some time with this figure. This is figure 10.9 as a great kind of overview of this entire process. Spend some time with this. It will be important. Once again, this is mostly physiology stuff. Oh, I will put this slide up mostly because it's entertaining. If you've ever heard of someone having Botox, like Botox injections, they're getting injections of toxin from Clostridium botulinum. Okay, so thus bot, like Botox, it is botulinum toxin. It is the toxin that is released by Clostridium botulinum. Okay, this will kill you. This bacteria will. Okay, and it kills you via paralysis. It causes paralysis because it stops our ability to get acetylcholine from the synaptic knobs of our nerve. Our nerves can't talk to our muscles, and thus telling our muscles not to function. So you're paralyzed. Okay. Now, if you take in a whole bunch of this toxin because you have a whole bunch of this bacteria in you because it's in your food or something like that, that's one of the ways it can kill you because all of a sudden your nerves can't tell your muscles to contract to tell you to breathe. So that's actually one of the ways that you would die is just simply due to asphyxiation because you're not breathing enough. You're not able to get enough air in. You can't breathe because of those nerves all being paralyzed. However, if you take a little tiny bit of this toxin and you put it in particular places, like say here, 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 what you can do is you can actually paralyze those muscles that are causing you to have those smile lines or these creases right here, and those lines go away. Okay, because the muscles aren't creating a whole bunch of tension in those areas. So those lines of stuff go away. So you don't have those wrinkles there. But the people that have this done to them, you'll notice that they can't move their face. They turn into robots, okay, because of the injections of this Botox, which is fun. Kind of fun, anyway. All right. That's also why, like, if you look at the Kardashians and stuff like that, who've been doing this for years and years and years into particular places, they have absolutely no facial expression left. And it's simply because they basically have fried all these nerve endings. So there is a way to do it correctly where you don't run into those problems, and that is not the way that they have done it. All right, so any questions on this kind of molecular level or cellular level of muscle cells? No? Okay, now for this chapter, you're also going to need to do a virtual lab, and it's going to look at the cellular level both of skeletal muscle, but it's also going to show you some cardiac muscle and smooth muscles. Make sure we spend some time with those. Smooth muscle is what we're going to find in our hollow organs, and we cannot consciously control these. So like I cannot consciously tell my stomach when to push its contents out towards my intestines. Thank goodness, because I just forget like I do everything else. Like I forgot my keys and my phone and my shoes this morning, all in different circumstances. So I had to go back into my house multiple times just to get those kinds of things. You know, man, yes, okay. I don't wear shoes hardly ever. I've actually I came up here one day this summer just to like do some work in my office, and I forgot shoes. So I was just in my office just working barefoot and walking around the hallways barefoot and stuff like that, which is totally fine. Like I have hobbit feet, so it's totally okay. I also have hobbit feet because I don't wear shoes the vast majority of the time. I do outside with like if I'm doing stuff at home or if I'm going out to a store or something like that, but that's genuinely the only time I wear shoes. And sometimes not even then. Like I've gone to Academy before without shoes on purpose. So like it's fine, I don't need them. But so smooth muscle in our stomach, all of our hollow organs, your esophagus, your intestines, all that kind of fun stuff. Can't consciously control it, nor can we consciously control the heart, and that's all going to be cardiac muscle. They're all going to be structured a little differently. So make sure you do those virtual labs. To check to see if you have done those virtual labs, when we come back on Wednesday, we'll actually look at some microscopes and look at some of these things. But part of the reason I'm trying to go quickly here is so that we can actually look at the next chapter, which is going to be muscles. More muscles. All right, now we're going to group the muscles, the skeletal muscles, into two things, just like we did with the bones, where we're going to have axial and appendicular, and they're basically going to mean the same thing. Axial muscles are going to be muscles of the body trunk. Appendicular muscles are going to be muscles of the limbs. Okay. We're going to further break these down into their locations, whether it's antebrachial, brachial, or whatever that may be, or what it is they're doing, whether it's flexors or anything like that. Okay. Now, importantly here, our axial muscles are going to be the muscles that are involved in things like facial expression, breathing, chewing, swallowing, abdominal pelvic organs, all those kinds of fun stuff, and moving the body trunk. Now, whenever you look at the body musculature, so you look at this kind of figure 11A and B, there are a bunch of things labeled on this figure that you do not have to know. Anyone want to guess where the list of structures that you do need to know might be located? In the outline. Our outline is our friend. Do not try and study all of these things. It will make your life hard. You'll also notice that some of these things are going to be slightly complicated and in weird spots and change positions, all kinds of fun things. So make your life easy by learning your outline. Focus on your outline. Focus on your outline. Focus on your outline. Okay? Now, one of the things that your book is going to do really, really well is it's going to break muscles down into some tables. In these tables, it's going to talk about the name of the muscle. So it's just going to list the muscle. Then it's going to list its attachments. It's going to list its proximal attachment and its distal attachment. Okay. or its superior and inferior attachments if we're on like a body trunk, okay? These attachments are important because these attachments are going to be what are going to actually make the muscle move, okay? Because all a muscle action is, so it's going to also list the action. So it's going to say, hey, flexion at the elbow. But all a muscle action is trying to do is it's going to take the proximal attachment, which is the origin. Importantly here, this one is usually going to be somewhat stationary. So we have a muscle, say, that's going to go from our proximal attachment to our distal attachment. For our insertion. And the action of the muscle is going to be moving that distal attachment towards the proximal attachment. This motion is going to be your muscle's action. And this is usually going to be around a joint or multiple joints. If the muscle spans multiple joints, it can cause action at 2 joints, depending on which stabilizers are in place and what those stabilizers are doing. But when we talk about the action of a muscle, all this really means is where is the distal attachment moving in relation to the proximal attachment? We're always going to move the distal attachment towards the proximal attachment. That is the muscle's action. So let's prove this, or at least show you an example. Here, biceps brachii. Notice I didn't just say biceps, I said biceps brachii because it's a biceps muscle in the arm, okay, in the brachial region. Proximal attachment up here, or the origin, we have on the acromion, as well as onto the spine of the scapula, okay? Distal attachment is down here. What do we call this? Anyone remember, seeing as you're being tested on it today? Large roughened projections for muscle attachment are called what? Tuberosities. This one is on which bone? Notice that it's got this little flat button on it right here. So it's on the radius, so it's the radial tuberosity. There we go, okay? If you're wondering why we had you learn some of those marks, that's because that's one of the important parts for, in this case, this muscle, your biceps brachii, okay? So your biceps attaches, or has its distal attachment on that radial tuberosity. So when this muscle shortens, what's it going to do? It's going to move the radial tuberosity towards the scapula, around those joints, particularly the most flexible of which is our elbow joint. So what happens at the elbow? We've decreased the angle between the joints. So what have we just done? We've caused flexion at the elbow. Why? Because we moved the insertion point closer to the proximal attachment or the origin. That's it. Now, one fun thing is, if we know the distal attachment and the proximal attachment, we also know the muscle's location. That's convenient, right? Because if you know these things about a muscle, that means you know where to locate it. Or if you know its location, you can sometimes kind of back calculate what these distal and proximal attachments are, which is handy. And if you happen to know those, you know the action. Something fun also happens here. Namely, that usually muscles are going to be named off of, let's get a different color. These things. Muscles will be named based off of things like their location, their attachments, or their action. All of these can lead you to the name of the muscle. Biceps. What does bi mean? 2. In this case, it means that we have 2 proximal attachments. That's cool. So seps in this case means head, so we have 2 attachments. Brachii. What does this mean? Arm. Where, particularly? Upper arm. So I'm looking for, if I read biceps brachii, that means I'm looking for a muscle in the upper arm that has 2 attachments. There's only one, and it is your biceps brachii. Triceps brachii. Triceps tells us that we have 3 attachments. 1, 2, 3. You can find 3 heads on your triceps muscle. We have a long head, a short head, and a medium head. Convenient. Almost like it's that way on purpose. Okay, pay attention to these things. It will make your life a lot easier. Now, one of the other things we can name muscles on are going to be the state of the actual muscle fibers themselves, or the patterns of the fibers. Some of these fibers are going to run in a circle. So these are going to do things like create a sphincter. We're going to see this called orbicularis. So orbicularis tells us that the muscles are running in a circle. So we're going to see this around our eyes. We're going to see this around our mouth. So orbicularis oculi, orbicularis oris. The muscles are parallel. Okay, we're going to see this in things like rectus. So rectus means that they're going to be in parallel. So rectus abdominis tells us that we're going to be looking for a set of muscles where the muscle fibers are all in parallel in the abdominal region. Okay, convergent means that they're all going to converge towards one particular site. Okay, so this is what's going to happen in something like your deltoid muscle. Now, your deltoid muscle is also special because it's an example of a pinnate muscle. So a pinnate muscle is where we're going to have a tendon. Okay, so we're going to have a tendon, and then we're going to have muscle fibers coming off of that tendon, just like a feather. Okay, so this, or like a pennant, so just like a flag. Okay, if it's only in one direction, this is unipennant. If it's in 2 directions, now we're looking more like a feather. Now we are bipinnate. Okay, now in some cases, we're going to have multipinnate muscles, which would be this same kind of structure repeated multiple times. Now, the reason you might do this with your muscle fibers this way is because we can get a whole bunch of contraction in each of these directions. Okay, so we can get short, or we can get very powerful, but also very finite contraction on either side of this tendon. Okay, so this allows us to have a bunch of fibers packed into a small area, as well as to get a whole bunch of powerful flexion in them without causing a whole bunch of movement. Okay, so we can get really short contractions here, but we can still get powerful contractions onto these tendons. So we're going to see this in places like our pectoralis muscle. We're also going to see this in places like our deltoid, things that we need to be powerful, but at the same time, things that we might want to limit its movement a little bit, or at least give it some nuance. Okay, so that's the kind of time we're going to be using these pinnate muscles. So we can get a lot of tension placed on them, but we don't actually have to pull the tendons as far. So we can generate a lot of tension without having to move something a long distance. So basically, if you think that that sounds like the kind of thing that you might have in really large, powerful muscles, you would be correct. Okay, so if you think about the most powerful muscle groups that we're going to have are going to be things like our quadriceps and our hips, or our buttocks and stuff like that. These are all going to be pinnate muscles. Something like your deltoid is multi-pinnate. So here we have convergent muscles in our pectoralis major, where all those muscle fibers go to one spot. Now, something else fun with our muscles, that we're going to have lots of things happening at any given joint. At one joint, so say we have my elbow joint, and I want to cause flexion at my elbow joint. Well, the primary mover of this is, of course, going to be my biceps brachii. So we're going to call this the agonist. Okay, so if you think back to your books and stuff like that in English class, you know that the person that acts against your primary character is going to be called the antagonist. Okay, so while my agonist is my prime mover, and this is the thing that's primarily causing the movement, while that is happening, we're going to have an antagonist, which is going to work against it. Your triceps, in this case, is going to be working against the biceps, so it's trying to prevent or at least it's being stretched when the elbow is being flexed. However, it is also going to do this. It's going to contract a little bit while your biceps is contracting. Your triceps will actually contract a little bit. and you'll be able to feel this. So if you kind of flex your arm hard, especially if you're trying to go slow, you'll notice that you can actually still feel tension in your triceps muscles. Why? Because your triceps are trying to slow down the rate that you're moving your elbow. It's trying to help you control it. That's what your antagonist muscles are doing, is they're going to help try and slow that movement so that we can get nice, smooth movement of the joint, okay? Now, if we flip these roles, so say we go to extension of my elbow, now my triceps are going to be my prime mover or my agonist, and my biceps brachii will now be acting as the antagonist, okay? While this is happening, we're going to have several muscles here holding everything in place. So right now I'm holding my arm out, I'm holding my shoulder out fairly parallel to the floor, okay? Well, that means I've got my deltoid muscles here acting as a synergist, holding my arm up. I've also got my latissimus dorsi muscles here helping hold it in place so it doesn't move any further up. We're going to call these muscles that are doing this, that are stabilizing the points of origin, we're going to call these fixators or synergists, okay? Now, another synergist might be a muscle that is working to help the primary mover do its job. This is going to be the one that's going to be more likely to fit the definition of synergist that's in your mind. So for flexion at my elbow, I have another muscle here. Glad that came off smoothly. We have another muscle right here. So here we have our biceps brachii. Here we have our brachialis. Your brachialis is also going to be helping your biceps flex at the elbow joint, okay? It is not part of your biceps. It is a separate muscle that is still trying to help us cause flexion at the elbow. But it is not doing the primary movement force. The primary movement force is being provided by the biceps brachii. It's just there to help. It's acting synergistically. Does that make sense? So that is another example of a synergist. So synergists can either be fixators or they can be helpers. All right, now back to naming. Naming of everything, or naming of this stuff is critical, okay? Pay attention to the names. Names are everything. If you want to make your life easy when it comes to learning all of these muscles, pay attention to the names. If it takes you 2 or 3 minutes for every muscle to look at every single part of the name and see if you can figure out what every single part means, it will still make finding it that much easier, okay? They're going to be named, in many cases, on their action, okay? So the example that's up here is flexor digitorum longus. Flexor digitorum. So what's it going to do? Flex. What's it going to flex? The digits. So if you make a fist, so if you flex your fingers hard, you'll see a little muscle right here. This is your flexor digitorum longus. It's also a climber's best friend. It tends to be like, if you want to compare what climbers are strong at versus like ordinary people, the muscle that will be strongest compared to everybody else will be their flexor digitorum longus. I told you about my friend that can do pull-ups on one finger. Yeah, I have a buddy of mine that can literally grab a bar with just his middle fingers and just go whoop, with just his middle fingers. I can do these 3, like leave my thumbs down and just do those 3. I can't quite do 2. I'm getting better. I can do 2 like on my right hand and 3 over here and still generate enough force, but I can't quite do the 1 on each. He can hang just on 1 finger. Like he can't pull himself up, but he can literally hang his entire body weight on 1 finger. It helps that he's like $130, which is cheating, but it's fine. He's like this tall. I don't know why you're so heavy. It's going to make doing stuff like climbing and stuff like that way, way harder. It's like, yeah, well, shut up, man. You're like half a person. Like, I'm not even all that big. £200 is actually a lot for anybody that's trying to climb, though. But still. All right. Now, specific body regions. Rectus femoris. So what body region do you think this is going to be? And the femur, near the femoral region. Muscle attachments. Sternocleidomastoid. You better hope I ask this question, because it's the easiest muscle in the world to find. Sterno tells us what? Sternum. Cleido tells us CL. Where have you seen CL? It's also written on the screen. The clavicle. Okay, so it's a muscle that's going to connect to the sternum and the clavicle. And then mastoid process. And you remember where that was? I hope so. Exactly, right behind your ear. It's that big bump behind your ear. So if you find a muscle that connects behind your ear to your sternum and your clavicle, so from the mastoid process to the sternum and clavicle, that is your sternocleidomastoid. Okay. Very, very convenient. Also, if you grab these spots on yourself, so once you know they're proximal and distal attachments, if you grab those spots yourself and you just pull them closer together, like so if you kind of put finger on one, thumb on the other, and then just pull your finger and thumb together, you're going to see what the muscle action is going to do. So if I do it on one side, I turn my head. If I do it on both, I bow my head. Okay, so that's what that muscle is going to do. Then we have orientation of the muscle fibers, like I said, if they are running parallel or not. Rectus means that we are vertical. So rectus abdominis tells us that the muscle fibers are running vertically. We are in the abdominal region, thus we can find our rectus abdominis. Those are your abs. At least if you don't eat as much food as I do and you can actually see them. All right, then we've got muscle shape. Our deltoid is a good example of this. The deltoid, if you were to look at it from the sides, well, I kind of drew it up here. This is a big triangle. Anyone know their Greek letters? So anyone know what delta is? It's also in math. You see the delta symbol in an equation, it means change, right? But it's also drawn as a triangle. This is a big triangle, thus this is the deltoid muscle because it looks like a big triangle. Muscle size, so relative size is also important. So we have three gluteal muscles. We have gluteus maximus, medius, and minimus. The gluteus maximus is going to be the largest of the three, at least in humans. In mice and rats and in cats, they're actually all, the medius and the maximus are actually the same size. So they're actually kind of hard to tell apart. Number of muscle heads, we've already talked about that one. All right, so we have this big table here looking at muscle naming. So I do recommend spending a boatload of time with this. This is table 11.4 or figure 11.4. Spend some time with this. It is your friend. All right. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to kind of break down some of the muscles of the head. We're going to talk a little bit about breathing, and then I'll just kind of give you all some time to start looking at things. All right. So first, we have the muscles of the eyelid, orbicularis oculi. So orbicularis tells us what direction those muscle fibers can be going. In a circle, very good. Oculi tells us they're going to be kind of around the eye, right? So we have circular muscles around the eye. What do you think is going to happen when some circular muscles around the eye close? We close our eyes. Exactly. We close our eyes. Convenient. All right. We also have some fun ones here. This is levator palpebrae superioris. If you're wondering why this one's on the list, that's because this one's going to teach you some fun names. Okay. First off, levator. Well, that means raise, right? All right. Superioris tells us it's going to be on the upper side of something. Then we need palpebrae. This is a fancy word for your eyelids. Okay. So levates, so elevates an eyelid. Which eyelid? Your upper eyelid. Its job is to open your eyes or raise up your eyelids. So to open your eyes. That's kind of fun. All right, orbicularis oris. This one's going to be close our mouth, puckers our lips, and stuff like that. So this is your trumpet player's muscle. Then we've got platysma. So this one is going to be the so it says tenses skin of neck and pulls lower lip inferiorly. This means basically that look of shock and disgust. That's your platysma. Then we've got our buccinator. Our buccinator is also a big trumpet muscle. This is going to be a muscle that's going to compress your cheek against your mouth while you're chewing and stuff like that. This way we don't kind of pinch down on our cheeks and stuff while we are chewing, which I am really bad about doing because once again, I eat too fast. Wish I had $1 for every time I've like bitten my cheeks hard enough to draw blood. Huh? Yep. The buccinator, but hey, whatever it takes. Man, I could go for baconator. That sounds really tasty right now. God, bacon's so good. It's good in everything. All right, so here we can see our sternocleidomastoid right here. So this side is deep. So we're also going to see a lot of pictures in this chapter that look like this, where we're going to have one side of the model be superficial. So basically everything from the surface. or at least more from the surface. And then another side, which will be deep, which basically means we've taken a bunch of these muscles and removed them. Okay, so we've dissected some of these muscles away. You're also going to see this same kind of stuff in the anatomy and physiology revealed assignments for these muscles, where you might have to remove some muscles and things like that to make things a little bit more visible. So our platysma is superficial, while our sternocleidomastoid is a little bit more deep. Here we have our buccinator. Here we have our orbicularis oris, orbicularis oculi, levator palpebrae superioris, and so on. Here we have our temporalis, so on the temple. We have our frontalis and occipitofrontalis here. All of this is going to form what we call the epicranial muscles. So this is what's going to allow you to be able to kind of lift your eyelids up or your eyebrows up and stuff like that. I wish I could do one at a time, but I do not possess that ability. Never have. We also have this guy making some faces for us so we can see some fun stuff. Smiling is our zygomaticus major. I wish my face were this expressive. It is not. All right, now for chewing, we have our buccinator, like I said, that is important for making sure that we don't get our cheek inside our mouth while we're trying to chew, because that would be problematic, especially while we're swallowing and things like that. But we also have our masseter. This is going to be the main one that's going to be providing the force of our chewing. So when you actually actively bite down on something, that's going to come from your masseter. You can actually see this muscle if you just kind of clench your teeth. You can kind of see that muscle contract. And mine's like making weird noises in my ears when I'm doing that. Now, anytime you see the word glossus, that means we're going to be dealing with the tongue. Okay, so glossus means that we're dealing with tongue. Hyo tells us that we're going to be dealing with the hyoid bone. Stylo tells us that we're dealing with the styloid process. Okay, so styloglossus is going to be going from the styloid process to the tongue. Hyoglossus is going to go from the hyoid bone to the tongue. And then we've got stylohyoid, which is going to go from the stylo process to the hyoid bone. You should be noticing a theme. Virtually nothing is going to be named for fun. Okay? Everything is going to have a name to it that is going to give you some amount of information. Okay? Everything is going to give you some amount of information by looking at its name. Also in our neck region, we can see a couple of muscles down here. So we see these three muscles on either side of the neck, just deep to our sternocleidomastoid. Notice that we are attaching to the ribs. These are going to be called your scalene muscles. These are important for whenever you take a deep breath. Everybody take a real deep breath. See how it feels like your rib cage is going up as well as out? That raising your rib cage up is actually coming from your scalenes. These muscles here in the back or kind of top of your neck are attaching to the top of your rib cage and pulling your rib cage up so that we can generate a little bit more upward force, so we can make that size a little bit larger so we can get more air in there, particularly during deep breathing. During resting breathing, that's not happening. We've also got a whole bunch of muscles in our back. These are here to help us maintain upright posture, as well as kind of help us flex and extend our vertebrae and things like that. We've got our things like our spinalis muscles and things like that in here. Our erector spinae is our main big muscle group, and that's going to be these guys right here. So these three muscles right here are the erector spinae. So these are helping us kind of maintain that upright posture. If you want to find the tastiest part of a deer, in my opinion, it is these guys right here. In a deer, we call this a backstrap. And it is super tasty. Huh? Why is that part so tasty? That region is actually not going to contain that much in the way of extraneous muscle fibers in there. So because of that, it's not going to be very stringy. It's basically just going to be a big band of muscle without a whole lot of hard connective tissue running through it. Also, it will get a little bit of fat in there too, but nothing like too crazy. It's not like a brisket kind of fat or anything like that, but there will be enough fat in there that will at least impart some flavor. So it will be tasty there. But also one of the big things that's going to at least make it seem like it's tasting better is that lack of too much connective tissue. Because that's one thing that will often get you when you're eating, especially game meats and stuff like that, or make a lot of people squeamish on them, is that they don't like dealing with bits of connective tissue, like hard stringy bits and stuff like that. That won't have any. So this is just going to be nice, smooth, tender muscle that will be easy to cook well and stuff like that. All right. So, you know what? I think I'll just leave it there and give you all a chance to look at those muscles on the head, neck, and face. And when we come back next time, we'll talk about breathing, and then we'll look at some appendicular muscles. Everybody good? All right. And if you would like to go ahead and look at your, or look at a microscope and actually look at skeletal muscle or smooth muscle or anything like that under the microscopes, you are welcome to do so. We have plenty of time.
What type of movement is it considered when you blow your cheeks up? Like,
That's not really a muscle movement. That's actually you pushing air in there, pushing them out. So it's not something that the muscles can do. Yeah, that's not something that the muscles are doing. The muscles are relaxing, like so the buccinators and stuff like that have to relax to allow your cheeks to expand like that, but it's not actually, there's not muscles on the outsides of your cheeks that are doing that.
an air movement.
Yeah. But this is also the buccal region. That's part of why it does it. So if y'all remember that, so the buccal region is the cheek region. So that's why they're called the buccinators, because they're dealing with the cheeks. And the baconators. Frogs that blow up their cheeks and stuff while they're calling, that is called buccal calling. Online folks, do y'all got any questions for me?